We're really glad to be back. And what I want to talk about today, I hope you do, is the secret to the work that we do. And what is the outcome that we're always interested in supporting people on is to be free of any food habit that creates results that aren't ideal.
Well, that's the work that we do, helping people find freedom from food habits. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's exciting when you see people, find that freedom after years and years of dieting and having this kind of tug of war with food and weight, and I find that freedom is like, whoa, it's like there's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And what I want to point to is, how does that happen? It's very simple, but maybe not always easy. So the way it happens is, first of all, to get clear on what your GPS is. What is that felt sense that lets you know I'm in a busy mind? What is that for you? For me, it was always two things: thinking like motor racing very fast, and feeling a lot of tension in the body. So that's my GPS.
Yeah. Well, what comes to my mind as you mentioned that, something came up just recently. I'm doing a project in the shop, making a frame for our headboard or bed, and I have just been loving it. It's been going so well, and I go to bed at night so satisfied. And then one day last week, I was working on it, and I had this thought, this old pattern thinking that goes, why are you taking so long? Why is this just so slow? And I immediately went, oh yeah, you're right. Look how long it's been taking. I've got to, move faster and push through it. And all of a sudden, the enjoyment that I had in working on the project was gone.
And that, why is this taking so long, is like we might have with creating a food habit, a thought that if I can only reach for potato chips, somehow my life will be better and I will relax and not feel this tension.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of a feeling. It's that feeling of push. And then I see that the story that I'm telling myself. For me, my GPS is kind of that feeling of tension, like you were talking about, that busy mind. There's a feeling that goes with it. And then if I step back, I can often see the story. But what's important, I think, is that I don't need to find the story. The GPS to bring me home, back to freedom, is in the feeling. And it's telling me that I guess if I want to get philosophical, it's telling me I'm believing something that isn't true.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm buying into an old story because I looked at this and it's like, why do I get so triggered about how long it takes for me to do a project sometimes? And I can go way back. I mean, I can remember 6 years old at least, probably before that. And the admonitions from my parents, what takes you so long, Billy? We've got to get, and so I'm always like, I take too long. I've got this story that came kind of top down from the authorities that I take too long. So there's something wrong with me. So back then, coping mechanism, figure out how to go faster, do it, and it just kind of reinforced going to a busy mind. And my experience in life has told me over and over and over, that doesn't work well. When I get busy, I make mistakes, and I don't want to make mistakes, one with the wood that I'm cutting or something else that's not supposed to be cut. So I've really learned that I need to listen to that GPS, because what it is it's an alert. When I'm feeling that tension and that urge and that rush and that compelling need to be different, that's really telling me that I am believing something that isn't really true. In other words, I'm buying into an old story that I'm flawed because I move through projects slowly.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, at the end of the story, when the woodwork is all complete, it is so gorgeous. And it couldn't be that gorgeous without really being meticulously slow in the detail.
So yeah, it's interesting. If we look at the end product, it's beautiful, it's well done. But what was my experience through those whole days and weeks of building it? Was I in that state of openness and enjoyment and just being focused and letting that natural flow of creativity and activity come through me? Or, which is so enjoyable, I always feel so good when I'm in the flow, so to speak. And the experience I have when I'm telling myself this is taking too long, what can you do that'll make it quicker? And maybe some shortcuts that probably aren't a good idea. At the end of the project, if I look back, what was my experience? And when I was rushing, it wasn't any fun. And that's why I'm out there.
Yeah, so we'll tell you more about our secrets in the next blog, but for this week, get clear on what your GPS is. What triggers you or signals you to know that you're in a busy mind? Because when we're hyped up with whatever we're thinking that isn't real, we don't have good decision making. We don't make good decisions about food or about life in general. So find out what your GPS is.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, what comes to my mind is that analogy we use sometimes about a backseat driver. And if I'm listening to the backseat driver, if I put my GPS back there, like Connie says, we don't make the best decisions because we're listening to something that is trying to move us forward, like let's get this project done more quickly so I don't get yelled at by my parents. Duh, where's that coming from? But that's like the backseat driver who doesn't see the picture accurately. And so, yeah, using that GPS to bring us back to that place of knowing, a place of peace and quiet and clarity.
Okay, so the recipe is really yummy. It's an Asian peanut slaw, and you can use it as a side dish or as your main dish. Use it as a meal, actually. It has all those high nutrients that cabbage brings, and it's tasty and quick to make.
Yeah, we had it for lunch yesterday, and I, was enjoying it at first, but then it really grew on me.
Me
And
too.
I actually went back for seconds and then thirds. It's really tasty. I think you'll like it. Give it a try.